arrived in Sao Paulo a few weeks before.
I can get you work, Max. Work that only a guy like you can do.
I ain't a cop no more.
Well, I think the first two Max Payne games were very story-driven experiences, but the gameplay also was very cinematic. You know, it's, people talk a lot about the noir influences of the Max Payne series, but really Hong Kong action cinema was probably even a bigger influence. So they wanted the gameplay to feel like that early on, so we wanted to stay true to that, and then also just make sure that the experience really flowed from gameplay to cutscene and back out again. So a lot of planning and figuring out ins and outs of scenes, and whether he's coming in at a run, whether he's under fire, whether he's not, whether he has somebody with him. So yeah, just a lot of planning to make it feel like you never know what, you know what I mean, what's going to happen next if you're watching a scene when the action's going to kick off. I think setting in South America has added a bit to what we're drawing on in terms of cinematic influence. Elite Squad was a movie that we really loved, and you know, just the setting itself is very different. You know, a lot of people are sort of noting that it's a different setting than the sort of bleak, rainy, snowy streets of New York. So that doesn't mean it can't be a noir story. It just means there's more variety, and we still have dark, rainy, dark, snowy nights in different environments, but we also have some of this action and the story play out in the sun. We've introduced, you know, a left trigger over-the-shoulder aiming feature that most games have, where you can sort of zoom in a bit closer and aim more precisely on your target at the expense of your ability to move around quickly. So we added that, and we've added a cover mechanic, but those are ancillary additions to the core of the game, which is still very much the run and gun. Well, as far as Euphoria, it's basically a set of behaviors that you can tune, and so it's really how much effort you put into that. So with Max, we put a lot of effort into the different aspects of Euphoria and how we use it. So there's the hit reacts for the enemies, to sort of evolve that and make those feel more connected. I think we had a good jump from GTA 4 to Red Dead, and you're going to see another good jump from Red Dead to Max, where you want individual shots to react properly. You want people to fall realistically. That's something that we're always pushing. Plus, we have, you know, bullet cams and things like that in Max, where you basically are seeing these things up close. You're seeing your bullets impact your opponents, and so you want that stuff to really show well. And then we're also doing something new with Max, where we're sort of doing physics and animation hybrids, like when he shoot dodges. That's physics and a pose library of an animation pose library running together. So you need to be able to control where he's pointing, but at the same time, he needs to be able to behave realistically depending on his environment, whether he's sort of launching over you know, some kind of concrete divider, or crashing into a wall or a bus or something like that. He has to feel aware of his surroundings, and so that was a big challenge, and something that we spent a lot of time tuning. And then we also have a mechanic called Last Man Standing, where if you have painkillers in your inventory and you take sort of a fatal shot from an enemy, you go into this sort of bullet time mode where Max is dying, but he still has a little bit of life in him, and if you can find the person that got that shot off on you and get your reticle on them and shoot them, you know, bullet will race out of the gun and tag them, and Max will be able to fight on with a little bit of health replenished at the cost of one painkiller. So, you know, that state where he's sort of falling and can still shoot is a blend of Euphoria and our animation system. Another physics sort of Euphoria animation-based hybrid that we're doing is Max's prone state on the ground. So we've kept the shoot dodge from the original games. If you want to stay on the ground for whatever reason, you can stay there and keep moving your reticle around and shoot sort of 360 degrees around you. And that, again, as Max is sort of rolling around from pose to pose, that's another blend of physics and animation that we worked really hard to get feeling right and looking right, and it's very cool. As far as the way bullet time works now compared to the way it worked in the old games and what the greatest addition is or the greatest enhancement, it works pretty much the same. It's still there for players to use as a tool to slow down time, to give them an advantage over their enemies when things get hectic, which they do all the time. And that is something that we really needed to keep, allowing players to have that control. It hasn't changed, but yet it looks and feels completely different because of the sort of the depth at which we've integrated it. Max Payne 3 is out March 2012, and it'll be on Xbox, PlayStation, and PC.
It wasn't pretty, but I guess none of what was about to happen was gonna be.